Nice.
Man. All right, coming to get you live from the My Insurance Group Media Room. It's the Homes and Homies podcast where we talk real estate and other trending topics. We got John Handsome Hansen.
With Michael, the lone wizard Litwin.
And for all your home needs, I'm the Ernest, the Realtor Enriquez.
The realtor.
Realtor. You know, that really grinds my gears.
Realtor?
Realtor.
Yeah.
When you have all these businesses that are trying to sell crap to real estate agents, they can't even say the name right.
It's realtor.
Realtor.
All you realtors out there need to adopt AI. Well, AI doesn't even know how to say realtor.
It's realtor.
It's not realtor.
There's no A.
There's no A.
It's real and then T-O-R.
Realtor.
Realtor.
Interesting. There's some agents that even say they're a realtor.
Kind of like when we were the Brahmas, not the Brahmas. I remember all the coaches would be like, a Brahma's a gay Brahma. They got really mad about it.
Wow. They did.
Yeah.
Those discussions got heated.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like so Madison and MacArthur always used to have the rivalry. Like that was the big nemesis of us.
The M&M Bowl.
The M&M Bowl, which is now no longer even in existence.
It's not?
No,
I mean, it's probably not good anymore.
Well, I mean, you have Madison's 6A. And MacArthur's 5A because of enrollment issues at MacArthur. But I still vaguely remember like Madison trying to steal a cow out of our courtyard. No, they stole the cow. They cut the legs off the bottom of the cow because we had this like statue of a cow in the courtyard, and they cut the legs off of it and took the cow.
Good for them.
That's awesome.
It was pretty hilarious.
Way to go. They win.
Yeah. They win. Well, I mean, Madison didn't have anything worth stealing. So there wasn't very much of it. I mean, we could go pee on their baseball field or something. But.
Don't they have a Mustang statue?
The Mavericks?
Is it the...
No, it's a... Well, they don't have a... They might have a statue in the front now, but back in the day, they didn't have...
the Madison Mustangs. Isn't it the Mustangs?
The Madison Mavericks.
I think they changed.
What is let's find out right now. We're gonna.
I don't think they have a statue.
We're gonna fact check you.
I think they do.
Do they? Well, then maybe the Brahmas, we were never ballsy enough to go and take it because we should have gone and taken that crap.
I got a topic that's not on this list.
What is that?
I think as a society we're screwed. So.
You just figured that out.
Well, this furthers the point. So the whole...
They're the Mavericks.
Madison Mavericks,
They're still the Mavericks?
The Mavericks.
I thought they were Mustangs.
I mean, it's
a horse. They're still a horse.
They do that whole like double M thing, so it's like it kind of rolls off the tongue.
So with Mustangs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
it would still work.
Well, the M&M Bowl was like an iconic bowl, kind of like the Chili Bowl that we had, right? Which was Churchill and Clark, I think. And then, but M&M Bowl was always a big thing for MacArthur. Yeah. John's like, I could care less.
I could.
So my hard-hitting topic is about Brady. Getting all beat up because he said spaz.
Brady who?
Tom Brady.
I can't believe he said spaz. Oh, my God.
So basically he said that, what the heck's his name?
Dak Prescott?
No, the quarterback for the Bills.
Oh, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
He said he was spazzing out. They called him a spaz. So now they want him fired.
Who, the Bills want him fired?
No, just the general population is offended that he called somebody a spaz. That's like calling somebody a retard now.
I mean, it's better than saying he's got Riz, whatever that means.
What
is spaz? I mean, is that protected class? Is that...
I've watched Josh Allen play.
He's a spaz.
I'd have to agree with you. Like Josh Allen is literally the freaking craziest athlete.
He's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, he is just a specimen of like Superman, right? But he has the decision-making of a spaz.
It's like, oh, hey, I have a wide-open receiver over here, but I'm going to throw it over here in the double coverage.
He literally, like, his decision-making is very questionable. I mean, I get in his head because he is such a good athlete, like, this makes sense to me, but you're like, nobody can do that throw. You just, like, you ran to the sideline, and as you're trying to, like, as you're falling out of bounds, you, like, just throw it across the field into like quadruple coverage, thinking this is a good idea. And I mean, sometimes it works for him. So you're like, but like anybody else like tries to do that shit, and you're like, hey, go sit on the bench, bro. Like you just think about what you did. Like Josh Allen, like literally, every game he's going to do something crazy like that, and sometimes it works for him because he is that good of a player.
Yeah.
But like the decision making is always very spastic.
Well, I mean, and you have.
I'm going to say spastic about 10 more times.
Spastic.
Spaz.
But that's just not offensive. Spaz.
No.
So the wokeness is calling for his.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is because it's like so there's a band called the Spasmatic. I mean, like,
so it comes from the word spasm, which is a muscle contraction.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's
so it's in theory related to being a retard.
No, not even that. It's literally
a muscle contraction, a spasm.
And it was probably when he did something like
really stupid.
Yeah, because he does that every game.
At least once a game, yeah.
At least once a game, there's like wow, that was really silly. Like, I remember that Houston, do you remember several years ago that Houston Bills game? It was like second round of the playoffs, I think. Fourth quarter, I just was like sitting there like, wow, both of these teams deserve to lose. Like Deshaun Watson was doing some stupid shit, and then like the Bills would get the ball back, and I'm like, wow, what are you doing, bro? Like Josh Allen's literally, he's running and he's like trying to make, so he just like tosses the ball like as he's getting tackled to see if the running or somebody else, and you're like, wow, that was not a good call. It was not a good call. Like that was not well thought out.
So this is new to me because the Oxford Language Dictionary on Google says that spaz, and it's got a big like caution mark, and says offensive, and then right under that says an incompetent or uncoordinated person.
Bam.
Yeah, he was very spastic.
How is that? How is that offensive?
I don't get it.
Toddlers are uncoordinated. They're spazzes. Like I mean, they fall off their own feet. Like
I mean, it's so crazy. I can see the future. 50 years from now, there's going to be so many words for no reason
that you can't use.
That you say, hey, whoa, you can't use that word, and you're like,
he just called me unfriendly.
Yeah. I can't use illegitimate.
You offended me. You hurt my feelings.
You hurt all the people that are illegitimate.
I could already see like people walking around with like offensive cards.
I'm offended.
I'm offended.
Like have like we'll go with soccer. Yeah. It's like if it was a mildly offensive
Your
word.
mic just went limp, Mike.
What's going on?
Mike,
I need Seattle.
I mean, it's better now. It's a common issue. It's a
Mike's
common issue
with the mic. He's like, hey.
It's a common issue with Mike's those ages. You know.
I mean, at his age, might be getting there.
It happens to all of us.
But that's crazy. Now that the Oxford Language Dictionary, even on Google, says it's offensive.
It's not offensive. I'm offended that you're offended by it.
So, Tom Brady, you said something very offensive. We now know there's a woke generation in the NFL, or that follows the NFL, if they're calling for him to be fired, which is sad.
Probably all the Swifties.
Which brings up point 2 on our list here.
Yeah, Colts. Well, yeah, 49ers star Nick Bosa may face discipline for displaying MAGA hat after game during interview. Isn't that crazy? So we went from like 2 years ago having all these star athletes endorse their presidential candidate, or let's just say one side so we don't get strikes, to it now being flipped, and now it's wrong.
Now, because it's the other side.
So San Francisco 49er star Nick Bosa, hopefully I'm saying that name right, made waves post-game on Sunday at Levi Stadium as he crashed quarterback Brock Purdy's interview while wearing a Make America Great Again hat. The NFL rulebook states in Rule 5, Section 4, Article 8, that's how detailed these rules are. You got rules with subsections too. Players are allowed to wear, and more importantly, what they are not allowed to wear when they get to the stadium on game day. But that says when they get to the stadium, not after the game.
Post game.
Do you see the Texas Tech kicker? that scored his touchdown over the weekend? And he ran into the end zone, and he had hand drawn like Trump 2024, and he lifts up his one moment of fame. He's like, every game I go out and I kick field goals, but today they're calling a fake, and I'm making it to the end zone. Woo! Scored a touchdown, lifted the shirt, it said Trump 2024, and his coach is just like...
I would be too, just like, God, stop it. Yeah.
But it's just crazy with where we're at in society.
And here's where I'll go with this. I mean, do I think he should be fined? Probably not. Do I think that I want to listen to what any professional football player wants to say about economics, politics, religion? I mean, I'm just like, dude, like, so you entertain us, and some of them might be really smart people,
right?
Like they might have master's degrees, and they might be well educated, but like you're
go tackle somebody.
Shut up. You're a professional football player. Same thing with the NBA. Like I just don't want to listen to like what you think is right for. Right. Our economy, what you think is like, hey, dude, you're really good at basketball. Go play basketball.
Right.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're really good at football. Go play football. Like, I do insurance. Like, so if you want an insurance question, like, I am not a poli-sci major that is going to like go deep into any of the political stuff. But I wouldn't mind listening to somebody like that. Like,
you're not a I know it all guy. You want to talk mortgage? I know about that.
Yeah.
You want to talk insurance? I know about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, historically, but it's ironic, and the irony that's built into how society's evolving and what's happening within our society is crazy to
I think it's
see.
de-evolving, not
right?
evolving.
De-evolve. Well, we evolved and then we went backwards.
I swear, like, Idiocracy, that's the best movie ever.
But it says throughout the period of a game that day, a player is visible to the stadium and television audience, including pregame warmups in the bench area and during postgame interviews in the locker room or on the field. Players are prohibited from wearing, displaying, or otherwise conveying personal messages either in writing or illustration, unless such message has been approved in advance by the league office. So where was that rule in 2019, 2020 when it was
when they were all
the Colin Kaepernick of the NFL?
They did nip the kneeling. There's no kneeling.
I don't know about nipping.
Yep.
They finally addressed it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know nipping.
Well, I don't want to say nip, but they finally were like,
that's
hey,
offensive.
Well, no, they finally were like, hey, we're just not like we're moving on. We're not doing this anymore.
We're football players. We're
gonna fine you, and we're gonna.
Well, it hurt the ratings. Like the ratings. I mean, they didn't tank, but they definitely went down. Like people stopped watching because of the propaganda that was being pushed.
So I watch these shit out of football, like college football, NFL. I don't really care what they do. I'm maybe a bad person because it's like I was a Dallas Cowboys fan when like every single one of them was like getting wrapped up in drug charges and shit. You know what I mean? It's like I love him. Yeah. Michael Irving's still awesome.
I love Deion Sanders.
He might have had a lot of problems with nose candy. Yeah.
Deion Sanders is I think as well.
Yeah, dude, it's just like my dad used to like because my dad's a diehard Cowboys fan too. He told me a joke when I was a kid. He's just like. So, whenever they say, "Will the defendant please rise?" it's usually Dallas Cowboy,
and they get off the charges.
but yeah, so it's like, but I still liked all those guys. I mean, I don't like.
So you're a diehard football fan. What'd you think of the games over the weekend? We had who was it? The Bears. Stop. The Bears losing to a Hail Mary.
That was painful.
And their cornerback is over there taunting the
again.
Instead of paying attention to the damn play.
Again, as a Cowboys fan, you never want to watch the Commanders win. And that
especially in a Hail Mary.
Oh, dude, that was just painful. Like, it was painful.
Yeah,
like it was painful for him because he's a Chicago Bears fan. It was painful for me because I just really didn't want to watch that happen. It was also painful for me because I was playing a fantasy football game against somebody that had
the Commander's quarterback.
Daniels. I'm like, well, that was kind of hurt.
It looks like it hurt.
Yeah. I was talking to my dad. I was like, oh, they got this. They had 12 seconds left.
It was like 12-15, right?
They were up by 3.
Yeah, they were up by 3, and
I think it was
now. What I will say is, there was a shit ton of holding.
There was a
shit ton of holding, and there should have been a flag thrown because one of the linemen actually tackled one of the defensive players.
Yeah,
I mean, you're just like, hey, you can't. I mean, it was a cool play.
But they practiced that in practice. That's the perfect tip drill, right? Like, it was tipped and then caught.
Yeah, they practice tackling a defensive player. No, I mean
they practice taunting the crowd.
I mean, there's blocks in the back. There was holding.
There was
Mike's like, oh, that was an illegitimate. We got to run that back.
Well, I mean,
it was such a spaz.
It was a mess of a play. I can totally see them being like, well, that was really cool. We'll just let it lie. But it shouldn't have probably lied.
I mean, the quarterback.
But I'm also, and I'll preface this with, I am biased saying this because I really, really don't like the Commanders. And I have no fondness for Dan Quinn at all. I loved him when he was the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. And then I blame him almost 100% for that Green Bay loss.
Oh yeah,
because he already knew he was getting the job
right
for the Commanders as a head coach.
For head coach,
and it's just like he goes from man-to-man coverage all year long to playing zone, and that was just the worst defensive showing we've ever had all last year. And it wasn't like the Cowboys had a bad defense last year either. They were a little weak against the run, right? And so, but they were a good defense. And Dan Quinn is a great coach, right? He did a good job as a defensive coordinator, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get a job as the Commanders." watch this shit.
What is the Commanders' record? Let's see here.
They're 7-2 now.
Really?
They're pretty good right now.
Yeah, they should have lost.
And they should have lost to a 2-4, 2-3 team.
They were 4-2.
The Bears.
They were 4-2. Now they're 4-3.
Chicago's pretty stout.
4-3. Commanders are 6-2.
Yeah,
they should have been 5-3.
That's crazy. So the Bears, Williams, quarterback, only had 131 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I said the Bears did not deserve to win, but they did good enough that they should have won, and then
Yeah, no, that was bad. And then I know you're not a Steelers fan.
I'm not a Steelers fan.
I'm not
a Steelers hater, but
I did have some mixed emotions though, because I'm not a Steelers fan, but I can't like the Giants either.
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's kind of like the rule of a Cowboys fan. So
I always think of the Giants.
But it is kind of funny to see Kyle Fields.
Justin Fields.
That's what I always.
He's benched again.
Yeah, it's like he got he got moved over to the Steelers, and then they're like, "Hey, let's play the 50-year-old."
Yeah,
the 50-year-old's better, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, Russell Wilson's journey from Seattle all the way to Pittsburgh. He had trouble with Sean Payton in Denver.
He was awful in Denver.
Terrible. And now he's in Pittsburgh, and they're 6-2.
Yeah, I mean.
And he threw for 278 yards.
Pittsburgh's got a stout team, though.
They've always had a stout team, though. They've been kind of the hidden child, I would say.
Meh.
I say that openly because
at the Roethlisberger, they've kind of
when you're talking about good teams, Pittsburgh usually isn't in that conversation unless they're undefeated, which I don't think they've been undefeated in a while.
Yeah, the problem is Big Ben, when he retired, it was pretty much like there was a definite
a void. Yeah,
and then Fields is definitely not the answer.
Yeah,
and what sucks is Russell Wilson's awesome, but Russell Wilson is
old.
Yeah, he's at the. Yeah. I mean, it's
his shelf life's expired.
Yeah. It's like same thing. Like as much as we don't like Aaron Rodgers, he is a
prima donna.
Yeah, but he is a good quarterback.
He was a good quarterback.
Yeah, there we go. He was a good, but it's like this should be his last season. Like the Jets team last year without him had a better record right now, and it's like. What is vastly different? You're the quarterback.
I enjoy watching it, honestly.
He's also in New York, and he has different opinions than probably most of the players on his team.
Most anybody. I mean, he's just
yes. He had different
than anybody who's not a spaz.
I love it. I'm gonna start using spaz.
I didn't like COVID, but it was hysterical watching Aaron Rodgers talk about it.
I got vaccinated. Well, my own vaccination protocol.
I called Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan gave me the cure. He told me to throw the kitchen sink at it, and it worked. But I mean, yeah, he's kind of washed up. It's funny too, kind of talking about Joe Rogan.
He's on our list here, Joe Rogan.
He is, because he, during the Trump interview that he had, and we're not going to go too far into politics, but during the Trump interview, Trump asked him. He goes, "Well, how do you?" say some, because they were talking about UFC, and he said, well, who is the best UFC fighter in the history of UFC? And I mean, Joe Rogan said it perfectly. He said that you only have so long to judge a UFC fighter based on whether or not they're great, right? Like,
yeah, their peak performance.
Yeah, their peak performance. Like, they have a peak in their performance, and that's the only point in time during their career that you can actually judge whether or not they're the greatest of all time. Because the build up to that,
well, and what's so hard is like, okay, cool, like, so the greatest of all time is such a
subjective.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's like, so. I mean, I thought Tank Abbott was the greatest of all time. He's not, by the way. But I mean, but I loved watching him fight. Yeah. Like, he was just like literally a barroom brawler. Like, that's when I actually watched UFC. It was like 25 years ago. You know, and it was a lot of fun to watch fight.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Trump said it perfectly too, because he's like, some of these athletes and in general, people just need to know when to stop, because like these guys hit their peak performance and then they know they're out of their peak performance, but they're still trying to fight peak fighters, and they're getting knocked out. They're getting choked. They're getting hurt. And he's like, had they just stopped when they were great, they would have ended their careers on a great note, rather than being this person that became great and then just fell off the map.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. I mean, I kind of think that's the same thing for the
Kenny Rogers. He said,
"Got no one to hold him."
Yeah, no one to hold him. Kenny Rogers, man, his life, his swan song was that song, and he knew exactly when to fold him. Right when COVID happened, he's like, "I'm out. I'm done." He died. He died literally like the weekend. I think the shutdown happened. He's like, "Okay, done.
time to go." Right. Did any of you see that Joe Rogan Trump interview? Have you watched it?
Well, actually, I have never listened to a Joe Rogan.
And I wish Gary was here right about now.
Podcast.
I'm so glad he's not, because I could totally hear Gary. Well, there's a conspiracy theory about this, and the reptilian alien humanoid is gonna. I swear, I'm like, Gary, like, Cloak and Dagger, where is this place that you guys meet and just talk about, like, just exchange conspiracy theories?
Let's all go get drunk, high, and talk about shit that's out of this world, man. So I watched the whole thing. It was about a little over 3 hours long, and I didn't watch it all in one sitting. I watched it in portions. But he says a lot of good things. He talks a lot about the corruption, which we as Americans know exists within politics, and how easily people are bought, if that makes sense. Like, how easily people can be controlled. Some of these people get into politics and from day one they're millionaires, and it's because they're controlled. And he did say something about, like, illegals, and how they're coming. And he mentioned something so minute that a lot of people might not have caught it. But it was the fact that the feds are not funding this illegal migration that's happening right now. Like, when they're talking about, we're giving this much money to these people and they get all these EBT cards, he hinted that it's actually done by one entity, and that's not the feds. Which is crazy to think. I think Soros, possibly.
George Soros.
Who's always been that thumbtack in our side, or that thorn in our side.
I swear, you conspiracy theory guys always want to blame Soros for
his name's Lucifer.
Yeah, his name's Lucifer. Well, that was like the whole, who was the guy that went against George Soros that got in, he's in prison now, because he ran a publication. I forget the guy's name. He like put hit pieces out on Soros and stuff. But apparently the Clintons' daughter is married to Soros' grandson.
Oh my!
Or something along those lines.
So I listened to that podcast.
Yeah.
And I actually listened to the one with Musk first.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. So
Musk is so hard to understand though with that British accent. Like,
I actually like the Musk one better than I like the Trump one better. But I think that is the future of news.
Oh, I think so.
Because I think no matter what side you're on, the news nowadays is no longer news. It's all opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like, hey, let us explain to you what you need to think about what is going on right now. And I get tired. I get really tired of, man, I'm glad I get to see the Cowboy.
Morning, partners.
What is on your head?
In time, partner. Well, how do you do?
Bad, better, Mortons.
I want to see you put those on with the hat still on.
See, but Trump kind of hinted to that during that Joe Rogan interview.
Hot stuff.
Right? He talked about the news outlets and how historically they've become more propaganda fed, and they've been more about pushing their idea and their visual, like what their opinions are than actually giving us the news.
Yeah, I want the facts. I don't want your opinion, and that's all we get now is opinion. No matter what side you look at. Left side, right side, it's all opinion.
I'm completely 100% in agreement with you, Mike, because I can't stand watching Fox News, but I also can't stand watching CNN, MSNBC. I watch any of them, and I'm like, stop telling me what to think. Like, please, just tell me what. I watch the news because I want to be informed, not misinformed or not what you need me to think about this person or that person. Just tell me what just happened in America today, or
just give us the news. Let us know what's going on.
I just want.
We got a war in Russia and Ukraine. We got a war happening in Israel and Palestine. We got no tariffs, open borders, and jobs leaving the United States because it's happening.
Listen here, boys.
So what do you think about that whole tariff thing? That's interesting.
So I like the idea of tariffs. I'm not opposed to it, but it's got to be done right. I don't like that a lot of our goods are imported. Like, okay, for example, strawberries, right? Like we're coming out of season for strawberries because of fall. We're going to start getting strawberries that are imported, but the price of the strawberries are now going up. So like what we would be paying $2.76 for a 16-ounce thing of organic strawberries.
We're now that a pound.
We're paying a pound, whatever. We're now paying $4.76 for the same product, and it's imported.
I source my strawberries in Poteet, Texas.
Not now, we don't.
Yeah, it's out of season.
It's out of season now. They're not flowering right now.
You are eating hydroponic
made from Brazil.
From Brazil or Bolivia strawberries.
But listen here. You guys, well, hold on. Let me.
Dude, are you gonna be talking about like this the whole episode?
What happened to you? Did you hit your head on the way in?
I hung out with the great Ryan McDaniel last night. We had one too many wishes.
Oh God!
He took me out to go see Texas State get their ass beat in our time. Anyways, listen here. In 2018, I got real deep into the news, and you know what I found out right before COVID? You gotta follow the money. Whoever owns these companies. CNN's, the Fox News's. You gotta follow the money.
Coming out of your eyes?
Yes. I fucking hate you, Gary.
I'm waiting for the.
I know he's telling the truth because his eyes twitching.
So to get back to the topic, though, how do you get to the truth?
You follow the money.
You follow Joe Rogan.
You follow the money.
You follow the Homes and Homies podcast
so how do you
on Spotify and
verify
YouTube.
stuff is true? It's so hard to do nowadays.
Follow the money.
Well, yeah, and we can't even trust like the Oxford Dictionary for Pete's sake because they're gonna. So we were talking about a moment ago. Mm-hmm. Mike brought up that Tom Brady's being called out to be fired by woke generation within the NFL because he said that
Josh Allen was a spaz.
Why can't you say that?
It's offensive.
Apparently, Ernest just pulled up the word spaz and it says caution offensive.
So,
and I was like, I was very spastic about that.
So
it sounds like constructive criticism to me. I actually got banned from Twitch when I started streaming because I called somebody a simp. I didn't know that you can't say that. You can't call somebody a simp. But to me,
is that a simpleton? Simp.
Yeah,
when you
or a noob,
a guy
noob.
that sees a girl. But here's why: because on Twitch, it's really a lot of dudes that are just watching girls' cleavage, and that's how they make a lot of their money. So, you really think about why they banned that, but they say, oh, it's offensive. When you grow up and you say to your boys, hey, dude, you're being a simp right now. You really checking your friend. Hey, man, you're bending over backwards, spending money on this girl that doesn't like you. And then you see how that transfers over onto something like on Twitch where they make to me, it's not offensive. Spaz, simp, all that stuff is not really, it's constructive.
Yeah. Well, but
how do you say that even nicer though?
So here's the definition that they have for spaz: an incompetent or uncoordinated person. They lose physical or emotional control easily. Spaz.
Yeah,
and then it's giving me a caution saying it's offensive.
Now, unless that person has a physical disability, I'm not going to sit here.
Which Josh Allen does not.
I mean, to be fair to all the people that are calling for Tom Brady's head, Josh Allen's, we've already talked about it.
He's a physical specimen.
He has a disability between his ears. I've already told you this. Worst decision making from a superhuman I've ever seen.
He trips over his cape.
Let's make a comparison. Calling Josh Allen a spaz, not offensive. Calling Michael J. Fox a spaz,
offensive.
Very offensive.
Very offensive.
Yes. So I feel like there's a time and place. But for people are just mad at Tom Brady, bro.
Yeah.
People just want to be mad.
Yeah. Just because he's the GOAT.
Well, dude, you look at him, he's younger than he looks 20 years ago. He's won 7 Super Bowls.
I think he's an alien. Probably a lizard.
I was having a couple beers over the Cloak and Dagger the other day.
That. We just got taken off of TikTok, Mike. Dang it.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the people probably calling for Tom Brady's suspensions are also vegans. So just to see this vegans
who like football. What?
Yeah, the vegan on vegan.
There's a vegan implosion, of their culture.
Because Tom Brady's vegan.
Yeah. Full blown.
For those of you who don't know that Tom Brady is vegan.
You get banned now.
So now you get banned.
I just remembered that South Park episode where they were trying to get his poop. That was pretty amazing. If you haven't watched it,
I haven't seen that episode.
Was that South Park or was it?
100% sure it was South Park. I watched the episode 3 or 4 times.
How did Kenny get killed in that one?
Oh, okay, I'm thinking of another episode. I'm thinking of Ted.
Yeah,
the movie Ted 2. I think it's Ted 2.
That was not poop.
And they're trying to get Tom Brady's specimens.
Reproduction specimens.
Oh, dude, that movie
was a spastic movie.
That movie, they lift up the sheet. They lift up the sheets, and it's like, oh.
I had several spaz attacks in that movie.
That movie was so good. How they simped over Tom Brady.
So, Mike, what's your take on tariffs? Good, bad?
Well, I never realized that in the 1800s, that's how we funded everything.
1880s, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no income tax, and all of our government was funded by tariffs on stuff coming in. And we had a surplus.
Did you know how income tax started?
1907.
You know how it started?
There was a bomb
or you know how they got it approved?
Was it Woodrow Wilson?
They said that this is only for the 1%.
Oh.
Yeah. We're only going to charge 1%. Kind of like some of the other things that are going on.
1%ers.
Yeah. But we're only going to charge the 1% income tax. Don't worry, I like this is for the billionaires.
Yeah.
And at the time, it's probably millionaires.
But the statement was that with tariffs, we don't even need to charge income tax because our country becomes so rich.
Yeah, so
everyone wants to sell to us.
So I mean, when you take some economics classes, though, you start realizing that if you tariff too much, you actually hurt your economy. Mm-hmm. And I mean, so I do have mixed feelings about a lot of different tariffs because you're ultimately pushing the buck onto the consumer in America. You double the price of strawberries. Well, okay, I guess we have a choice. Are we going to not eat strawberries anymore? Or are we going to pay $5 a pound versus $2 a pound?
Right.
You know?
Well, I think in this instance, it was he did a tariff right? Or the president did a tariff, and also made it so restrictive of companies outsourcing and leaving our own soil, which worked very well, especially for the housing industry, because we had more jobs, people had more money, we're paying less in taxes, and in 2020 that all changed.
Boy, that changed.
Yeah, it changed.
And it changed fast.
Yeah, it did really fast.
So there's a lot of good stuff out there. I think there's another candidate that's running. I don't want to drop names. That's just basically like, oh, I'm not going to tax tips from waitresses either. But that's my idea. He took it.
You not being able to say the name for fear of us getting
Censored.
in trouble is just ridiculous.
And we would get...
Free speech is dead.
Yeah.
It is dead.
I've already,
for sure.
I've already
John gets
made
the
it,
notification.
I've already made it really clear
Hey,
who
I've already voted.
for.
I voted. See, I got the sticker.
Tacos
I can prove it.
and queso.
So there's been a question that has
I saw that.
has always come up, right? Because you go to the voting polls, even here in San Antonio, and there are candidates out there like campaigning for themselves. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
If you haven't made up your mind by the time you get in line, you're a weak individual.
Well, I'm not saying
they're
like
almost spastic.
that was a you're a simp.
You need to simp over a candidate before you're in that box.
You should know what you're doing before you get in line. Come on.
I understand that part, but naturally, like these candidates. So I went to the polls, and Christina Carranza was there, and she was like, "Can I have a moment of your time?" And I was like, "Fuck no, you can't."
I got stuff to do.
Christina Thompson.
Did you
I
give
got
her?
news
Did you give
for
her
you.
fuck no you can't face, or did you say fuck no you can't?
No, I just told.
Dude,
I
that's
said,
super offensive if
I
you
said,
said that.
No, I didn't say that. I said no, not right now.
I'm
Thanks.
offended for Christina if you
It's a
said
good
that to
kind
her.
of
Did you
offensive.
vote for Christina?
I haven't voted yet.
Oh shit! Don't vote for.
He's waiting for tacos to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
It's tacos versus queso.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? To be honest with you, I honestly don't know who I'm going to vote for in a lot of different offices. Just because it's just like, God, it's like, do you want a turd sandwich or shit sandwich? Do you want, like, this one has like a little less like
Crap.
Yeah, like this one doesn't have corn.
Well, we're voting on propositions now. But no, I didn't tell her fuck no. That was a little bit sarcastic. I told her no, not right now, and just kept walking.
Not right now, just later.
Just later.
After I vote, we can talk.
Maybe after I vote, you can talk to me. But yeah, no, I mean, I can't vote for somebody who has the last name Thompson and changes it to Carranza to appeal to the Hispanic population. That's just not
It's
cool.
called
That'd be like
pandering.
John
Yeah,
changing
exactly.
his last name to
Hanson.
Rodriguez.
He looks like a Rodriguez.
John Rodriguez.
You got an accent mark and pull it off. John Hanson.
John Hanson.
It's not Juan.
Go with
Juan
French.
Hanson.
Yeah, Juan Hanson. Like Mexican French. It'd be very inclusive.
But no, I just don't
oui?
think the candidates should be at the polling stations like campaigning for themselves. Like,
I don't care.
don't try and be there to sway people, you know? And proposition, whoever thought it was a great idea to put income raise for city managers because, we don't get good candidates at what we pay.
Don't they make
I
over
kinda-
100K?
They make. I think
Like
it's like
250?
Yeah, I think it's 250. And then honestly, like, so here's where I'll go with this. I can definitely see the argument for raising those. Raising the mayor to 87,000. That's not really that big of an increase. I mean, it's like
The mayor doesn't make more than 87,000.
No, they make like 70 or 60 right now. I mean,
Yeah.
and so it's like I have no problem with some of those raises. The city manager, I think it's like a 250, and they're trying to raise it to 357, which is still lower than a lot of city managers. Like,
Right.
like dude, I think the city of Lubbock, and I don't quote me, but I think they're like at 450 or something like that. You know
And
what I mean?
it's Lubbock.
Yeah, and it's they're literally a fraction of our size. So I am not that opposed to like being like, yeah, if we want top talent, like you have to pay top dollar.
Yeah.
A city manager has a shit ton. Like I would like to get the shirt city manager in this podcast because he has a lot of stuff like just completely different thought process on a lot of things
Right.
as we do because we're in two very different sectors, right? Like we're sitting over here business, raise like run top line.
Top line.
Like,
I love top line.
Yeah, I love top line. You know what I mean? Like we're over here just like crank it. Like what's good for top line? What's good for our profit? What's
Yeah.
good for completely different thought process. But you need guys like that have been doing it for a while to successfully do it. Like, because there's a lot of crap to sift through. And when you're looking at like a $400 billion budget here in San Antonio, it's like, maybe he should make like 350, 400. You know what I mean? Like to attract somebody that actually is competent to do it.
Money is the root of all evil.
No, that's not true. The love of money is the root of all evil.
The love of money.
Because money is not evil. Money's a tool.
I'll do that job for $180,000 a year, and I'll automate the entire position. Just call me.
You know why we've gotten so
John's like, don't vote for me.
politics and religion? Because we can't talk about it anymore. We can't have a civil discourse.
We can't disagree about it.
My thing with being in disagreement with that is, look where the city of San Antonio is from the last several years. And over the last several elections, we've voted for those pay raises. They've gotten those pay raises, and we still have gotten shit.
Yeah, but we're so far behind. Like, I mean, that's why I mean, I don't know how I'm going to vote. I don't know how I'm going to vote on it, but like I know that I would have no problem. I would have no problem paying the city manager $600,000. I mean, it's like, dude, you have a lot of shit to do, and it's not a 40-hour-a-week job. Some weeks you probably don't have to work that hard.
Yeah.
But there are some weeks, like whenever it comes to budget time, like in their fiscal year runs for like September, like whenever it comes, like, dude, they are going to be working 90 hours a week for a little while, you know, like they're going to have to put in like the midnight oil. That's their job, but it's like if you want somebody competent to do it, like you gotta.
When you worked 90 hours a week out in the oil field, did you make $300,000 a year?
I mean, there's guys doing it, yes, like in the oil field. The position I had, I did not make that much money, but like the goal was to get to those positions that do pay $500,000. Like, I mean, so I know that sounds like a lot of money, but like I knew 100 dudes out in the oil field making $500,000-$600,000 a year, and all we're doing is pumping oil. You know what I mean? Like he just like they're doing a little bit of math. Like those directional drillers, they work a lot, but they make, like, if they're working, they make $500,000 a year easy. You know what I mean? Like they and all they do is a little bit of math, and they like tweak a couple buttons on a deal. I mean, they have to do it. Like, you have to pay these guys, but it's like...
You can also lose your job if you jack it up.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, it's kind of hard to lose your job, especially if you've been doing it a while.
the hole's already tapped. You're just, for the most part.
No, you're like the directional... I don't want to get into directional drilling right now, but those guys make a shit ton of money. They're called company men.
Yeah.
They're basically project managers for the locations. Those guys make a shit ton of money. See, and those guys only work half the year.
See, and I couldn't even tell you who our city manager is right now, be quite frank with you.
Exactly. But
which is why it's like, well, if you're not going to tell us who you are, what your goals are, why you're fit for the position, why should I vote for a raise for you?
See,
It'd be like me telling you, hey, I got a buddy, John.
So Eric Walsh is our city manager right now.
How long has he been in city management position?
We'll find out right now.
Probably about 12 years.
Here, let's move on, because I don't feel like reading all this.
He's like, another story. No, that's not going to look good for Eric Wall.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's like there's a lot of places that pay a shit ton of money, and when you're responsible, it's kind of like people get super mad, and I'm going to throw a church out on blast right now.
March 1st, 2019.
Like CBC, right? Like the pastor over
Pastor
there.
Ed.
I was going to say his name, but the pastor over there makes a lot of money.
Dr. Ed Newton.
But he
runs a huge corporation.
Runs a huge church. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge church. And it's like, people are like, well, that's not right. And I always argue, it's like, dude, like, he's at the helm of something that's like just, he got a tiger by a tail. Like, he might as well get compensated for it. Yeah. Like, I have no problem when it makes sense to be like, okay, cool, yeah. Dude, they paid Dak Prescott $60 million a year. Like, what the hell?
To lose games.
Yeah, what the hell? It's
See,
like,
but
dude,
he wants a pay raise next year, too.
And I was like, what?
We're in out this joke.
It is crazy. I saw something the other day where Brock Purdy, because he's still like on that rookie contract, it makes like $985,000 a year. Dak Prescott makes that per quarter.
Game.
No, per quarter.
Per week.
And Brock Purdy beat Dak Prescott 3 times.
And they just beat him again.
That was the third time.
Okay, that was the third time. I was like, wait a second, they just beat him again too.
But yeah.
How did that taste? How do them apples taste losing to the Niners? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Isn't that what they say?
I still like Brock Purdy.
Ooh. You like Brock Purdy?
I like Brock Purdy.
So I like his story. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I hate the 49ers.
What a time to be alive to see Mr. Irrelevant playing Super Bowls and just be good. You guys know what Mr. Irrelevant is?
Yeah, that's his nickname.
The last pick in the draft.
Yeah,
that's who they call Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah,
he's the very last pick in.
That's his nickname.
Well, I mean, the Colts are about to bench their fourth round pick, Anthony Richardson, and turn to Joe Flacco.
Dude, Joe Flacco is another one.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah,
I remember his days in Baltimore.
He's like a journeyman. He's a journeyman quarterback.
Don't bring up Brown stuff anymore.
Wait, oh yeah, that's right. He did play for the Browns.
We had a good week. This was a good week. That was a great game. Nothing better than seeing a winning catch get bounced off of the team you hate's helmet. That was wonderful to see.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see.
So how long was he with the Browns?
A couple weeks.
Who?
Flacco.
Yeah. He was literally on his couch. He was literally on his couch.
And 6 weeks or something like that. They hit him up. And yeah.
Put me in, coach.
Brought him in the playoffs.
Hell, he's got to be like 50 now, if not over 50.
He's 38.
38. He's
about 38.
I feel like he was older than that for some reason.
I think, actually.
We'll have to fact check this.
Because he started in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. Or where was he before Baltimore?
It was Baltimore, and then
he's 39 right now.
Then the Jets.
Then the Browns. Mm-hmm. So he's on his 4th team.
I think so.
It'll be interesting for the Colts. How are the Colts doing this year anyway?
Well, most of the games he's played much better than Anthony Richardson.
I'm still pretty impressed with the Lions right about now. The Lions
That's because they're impressive.
They're doing really good.
Yeah.
And this is the second year in a row that they've been doing semi decent.
I'm a closet Lions fan.
I can't be, but I'm not a Lions hater. I mean, they sucked for so long
until the Lions beat the Bear.
They're gonna eat them up. So, I mean, there's no doubt about it.
So, because you asked the question, I was curious. So I don't know if you want to count the Jets twice. If you want to count the Jets twice, then it's like 17. Yeah. So he was at Ravens, Broncos, Jets, Eagles, Jets, Browns, Colts. Yeah. But 10 years was been at the Ravens.
So that's a long time.
Yeah. He's a good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback, but not as good as Lamar Jackson. That is the pinnacle of quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to win a Super Bowl, but he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, hands down, you watch that guy, everybody looks like they stand still, which is impressive when everybody can run a 4.3, 4.4,
Yeah.
He's big, fast, and got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah. I mean, he's just...
So what do you think, John, being a diehard Cowboys fan, what do you think's next for the Cowboys?
Another loss. Nah, dude, it's looking like pretty bleak. I mean, granted, like half the defense is hurt, or most of the good players on defense are hurt right now. It's just looking pretty bleak.
I heard there was a multi-trade deal going to happen since we're coming up to the trade deadline this week with CD Lamb and like $5 million or $15 million, somewhere around there.
Wait, what?
Well, if they get rid of CD Lamb, we're even more done. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I don't see that happening. He's like the 4th highest paid player in the NFL now, or 5th.
God, if he goes to the Chiefs, I'm throwing away my televisions.
So let's see here.
He's not going.
I read that he's like discussing trade deadlines 2 days later. Blah 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 blah. We'll be showing the deadline. Actually, Cowboys are worth watching because of fact. Blah. I don't want to.
Cowboys not worth watching.
The headline says Cowboys Raiders trade proposal would send $34 million QB to Las Vegas.
Oh,
Dak
to Las Vegas.
I don't know.
John, I want to see that happen.
And who's going to start? Trey Lance?
No, Cooper Rush, and when it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Everybody always laughs at me.
I like
He's 5-1.
Yeah,
I like Coop.
5-1.
So it says Cowboys blockbuster trade proposal pairs star number 2 wide receiver with CD Lamb. so they might be bringing somebody in.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Star number 2 receiver.
For Dak to throw more interceptions to.
Jamar Chase?
Yeah, Jamar Chase is over at the Bengals.
Right, but who's the star number 2 wide receiver on the the Raiders?
The Raiders.
They don't have
Devontae Adams.
No, Devontae Adams went to the Jets.
He went to the Jets.
It says, with the news thumping down on the NFL Tuesday suggesting that Raiders star receiver Devontae Adams could be had in a trade before next month's deadline.
Is that a pre-COVID article?
No, it just came out last week.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be a little late.
Sure, Ernest.
Could be a little late.
Well, we're gonna cut. We're gonna cut that part.
No, leave it. Mr. Irrelevant strikes again.
No, but they are talking about trade deadlines.
That's wild.
You know.
No, look, that's where it went.
They're gonna trade CD
You
Lamb for
remember Tom Landry?
Jerry
I think
Rice
he's going to be traded.
You know whose contract's coming up with the Titans is Derrick Henry's. I wonder if the Cowboys are going to pick him up.
Did you see what he did to the Browns this weekend?
Ocho Cinco was on fire.
Mr. Irrelevant's coming back with fire.
Who? Jameis?
I don't know. What did Henry ran somebody over on the Browns who's wearing a Guardian cap and
listen, if we want
made him go out on a stretcher.
If we want to get 1 million subscribers, all we need to do, there's a secret, we just need to play Jameis Winston clips for an entire episode. That dude is a content machine. And what's crazy about him, Deshaun Watson was so hated because Jameis Winston's been hated for such a long time.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson was so hated that it platform propelled a guy like Jameis Winston into like this like demigod notoriety because of the content he's putting. He's just so much like one good game. That's how bad everybody hated Watson. So let's play some Winston clips.
Watson is very. It's very easy to not like him.
Yeah.
I mean, just like he was good at Houston, and then obviously he liked massages a little too much. But then when he went to the Browns,
yeah, you want a happy ending?
But when he went to the Browns, he just has sucked.
That was his.
And it'd be different if like he didn't have anyone around him. But Amari Cooper's a badass receiver. I mean, like I don't care what anybody says.
He's old.
He's old. No, he's not. He's not that old. I mean,
yeah, he's like 31, 30. Yeah, he's like 31.
Joe Flacco's 39. So
yeah, there's anomalies like Mike Evans, right? But Amari Cooper may be on that like threshold of it, but I don't. He's lost a step.
I don't know. He's fucking fast.
I think this is the same reason that quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers are falling apart is because when they started to play again. I don't know, the last 2 years, the NFL has gotten so much faster, so much stronger in such a short amount of time. We got to think, like, these are the sports science kids. Like, when we got hurt, right, like, it was like, go to your therapy once a week and go home and do your alphabet with your ankle. Now, you know, kids are getting, like, cryogenic treatment, you know, agility training at these places like Division I.
They're like, oh, you ripped your ACL.
Yeah. We're going to give you a new one.
Yeah, we're just
a better one. Actually,
it won't ever happen again. It's carbon. Carbon fiber is so much cooler.
You guys went to therapy when y'all got hurt? What?
Seriously.
My mom
just
told me
rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it.
It is crazy though. What used to be like a year and a half recovery time is
like
now
6 weeks.
Yeah, now it's
wild. 8 to 9
months.
months, barely.
Yeah,
like Braylon Allen, the backup running back for the Jets. That kid was throwing up like 15 or 500 pounds at 16, 17 years old, like deadlifting. What? 16, 17-year-old. Now he's running back for the Jets. Like we're going to be seeing that more and more and more. And these old guys, they just can't keep up.
Yeah,
especially if they're not doing what they need to do, like be vegan. And date witches.
Amari Cooper could also be.
Tom Brady's wife is a self-admitted light witch. Did you know that?
A light witch.
Yeah, she's a witch of the light side. She is on camera.
So she's on Taylor Swift's side.
Swifty's a light witch.
Swifty's
I don't know what
she's
Swifty
a witch.
is.
She's a witch.
I only go off of what people say about themselves, and she literally says she is a.
Amari
witch.
Cooper is just a product of the Browns.
Well, he's he's at Buffalo now. So
was a product of it, we'll say.
Yeah.
You leave my Browns alone.
Your Browns are.
Yeah,
they got a
They're broad
dog for
for a
mascot.
whenever you guys.
Yeah, but this one will get Gary. Hey, you know who's doing really well this year is Baker Mayfield.
That's
Wait,
wild.
wasn't he
He
with
is
the
doing
Browns?
really
That's wild. Yeah, he's leading the league in touchdowns, man. That's
I
wild.
heard Johnny Football's going to come out of retirement too.
I surely hope so. He's apparently got a great golf swing, Johnny Football.
That's good.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
good.
I want to play golf with Johnny. Johnny, you want to play some golf sometime, man?
You watched it, homies.
Oh, hey, we gotta
We gotta go.
I'll
We gotta
bring
go.
us in.
All right.